All right, so I'm going to deal with a little bit of a funny topic here, and that is, why do we call them growth groups? Like, if the primary goals of growth group are care and the facilitation of discipleship relationships, why have we chosen the name growth groups? And you could probably argue that we just like it, but there is a particular reason why we've picked that, and part of that has to do with Ephesians chapter 4. Ephesians chapter 4 suggests that the goal of ministry, of serving one another, which is kind of caring and meeting needs, serving, but it's not just serving tactile needs, it's also discipleship. It's the communication of truth within the context of loving relationships. That the goal of ministry and discipleship is maturity, okay? Maturity. So that's why we'd use the word growth, because we want to see growth and maturity, growing up into the head who is Christ, Ephesians chapter 4. So if you're wondering why we call them growth groups instead of care groups or discipleship groups, that's why. We want people to be growing, and the way in which they're going to grow is if we are accomplishing our twofold purpose of caring for one another and facilitating discipleship relationships. If those things are happening, then maturity will be happening. We're not necessarily looking at growth in terms of the size of your group, okay? We're not looking at growth in terms of how long your group prays, or growth in terms of whether all of your group have graduated through some type of theological curriculum. That's not what we're seeking. What we're seeking is care for one another and mutual discipleship relationships developing within the group that will result in maturity. So maturity, the group will be maturing as it's caring for and as there is discipleship happening amongst those relationships. So again, if we stick with our twofold purpose of care and the facilitation of discipleship relationships, we should end up with growth. Hence, growth groups.